Dr. Wiley says we will not take over the world unless we are listening to Pixels in the Animation.
Super fighting robot, Mega Man. 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 Fighting to save the world.
Hello and welcome to Pixels in the Animation. This is episode 48. We are continuing the Mega Man coverage here inside Pixels in the Animation. I am your host, TFG and Mike. Joining me is TV's Mr. Neil.
Sizzling circuits.
No, that's not what he said. No, that is what he said, but he said something else later. Or that might be next week, actually. And also joining us is Steve Megatron. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
The same as last week. Human and alive.
Okay.
I'm not
that's,
mega high, that's for sure.
Yeah. Alright. So we are continuing on with the Mega Man coverage. We are pretty much going along at a steady pace here. When you guys watched this week's episodes, was there anything that you were surprised at overall?
No.
The amount of times Scott McNeil talks to himself.
That would be a daily basis, folks.
It seems like that happens in every show he's involved with. He ends up talking as two characters to himself.
Yep. I love him as Eddie because it's essentially Waspinator. Alright, folks, we're going to get into the episodes after this.
Rockin' robots, an earthquake. We better get busy. You'll be safe here, man. Sizzling circuits. Phew, that was close. Gutsman and Cutman. Well, those robo-vultures won't make this disaster any worse than it is.
Alright, first up is The Big Shake, written by Richard Merwin. The air date was October 2nd, 1994. Dr. Wiley has found a way to create earthquakes and demands the city surrender or be destroyed. Mega Man must go out in search of his new machine, while Dr. Light attempts to find a way to counteract Dr. Wiley's earthquakes. Dun dun dun. Oh man. This episode, I wasn't sure last week when I named it at the end of the podcast, and I was like, oh, earthquakes all over the world. Hasn't that been done before?
Oh, this has been done in every cartoon. And this is where the formula of this cartoon really cements itself. It's Dr. Wiley comes up with some devious scheme, and then Dr. Light comes up with some way to permanently make it so that he can never do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's every episode.
So it's almost like Wreck-It Ralph and Fix-It Felix.
Pretty much.
I can fix it, and it never happens again.
Gutsman is Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh,
No, I was referring to Wiley being that, and
No, I know, but yeah. Can we please explore the unhealthy obsession Proto Man has with Mega Man? Like, seriously, this dude looks like he's stalking him, and even though he consistently says he's his brother, it's like, oh my god, the writers on this show are really, because there's a couple of lines from Proto Man in here about destroying his brother, and it's only going to be him, and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and it's like, really, wow, it's really friggin' creepy.
well, the Force is strong with that one.
Yeah.
Their bromance.
Yeah. I do know Drill Man, but who the hell was the orange thing-looking bot?
Stone
with
Man?
Stone Man. Okay.
I think.
he's from
Yeah.
Man 5, I think.
He looks like a brick. Should have been called Shit Brick House.
Wow. Okay. So the plot is foiled once again as the heroes have to rebuild. So basically, in this episode, folks, they destroy Dr. Light's house and lab, and with this earthquake, and it's like, really, seriously, they're doing this? I don't know. I like some of the quips in this episode, but overall, the overall quote unquote story here is not very good.
Well, it's your typical. I mean, and it's very typical. It happens in almost everything. Heroes had a bug planted on him. Enemy zooms in and pretty much figures out where they're at and sends attack their way, and then they discover a problem and then they set a trap. So it's your typical thing happening over and over in any series, really. But this is the first time in this series where they've kind of actually done that.
Yeah, and the whole time, all as I was flashing to was changing Gears from G1, where Gears actually became personable and actually tried to help Megatron.
I was thinking of the episode where in like Beast Wars, where Rat Trap is sent to be a Predacon.
Yeah,
Under
there's that.
Pterosaur.
There's that too. What about you, Neil? Thoughts on the Big Shake?
Well, I'll start with the homing device or the tracking device, whatever that thing is. That
Yeah.
It fell into the trope that I always notice is that they're not really sure when they should and should not talk around this thing. Like at first they get it right. They're like, quick, no one talk, and they put it in this airtight container. And then later they take it out, and Mega Man's telling Roll how they're going to trick Dr. Wiley while it's out in the open. And I'm like, okay. And then one other goofy thing that they did was Mega Man's wondering out loud, how did Dr. Wiley know to send an earthquake at Dr. Light's lab? I'm like, doesn't Dr. Wiley know where he lives? It's like somehow they even explained it later that the tracking device was how Dr. Wiley was able to do that. And I'm like, but he knows where he lives.
Yeah, I mean, he broke into the place in the first episode.
Yeah, I'm like, why does that need to be explained? I don't. Damn you, cartoon. I think this episode was written on a toilet. Just,
So what you're saying is it's a big pile of shit that should have been flushed.
Well, but I'm just saying that like somebody went into the bathroom with like a notepad, and while they were spending 5 minutes on the John, they scribbled this one out. And it probably should have been left in there.
Steve, any other thoughts?
No, I like seeing the one of my favorite things is just seeing the random new bots that show up, because I wasn't familiar with the video games per se until the X series, so that's about the only thing I liked about this one. The rest of it's kind of your typical, animation plot that happens in every series.
What would you rate this episode, Steve? 0 to 5?
Probably a 3. I mean, it could have been worse. There were worse Batman the Animated Series episodes that I could mention.
Like Mudslide and Fire on Olympus and the Terrible Trio. What about you, Neil?
I'll give it a
rating?
3. Just average.
Oh, 3's all around. I'm giving it a 3 as well. And like Steve said, other than seeing some of the bots that come in, yeah, this one was just kind of... So
I will say that whenever you see a generic robot in this cartoon, it does kind of have the spirit of the video games in it. It looks like
absolutely.
it was designed by the Capcom people. For the most part, some don't, but we'll get to that.
True. All right, we're gonna move on to the next episode.
This is a terrific show, Otto. So real.
This isn't part of the show. Something's wrong.
Looks like I'll have to do some Robosaur taming.
All right, up next, folks, we're gonna be talking about Robosaur Park. A de-evolution serum that only has an effect on robots is released. Now Dr. Light has to find an antidote so he can change back Mega Man and the other robots before they destroy the city.
So many things wrong with this.
I know. Let's see here. This is the original Jurassic Park concept, except with Mega Man characters. And it took me until they actually said his name to realize who the hell Toadman was. Because I did not remember him at all.
The worst robot master of them all.
Is he the easiest to kill?
Yeah, because he basically jumps over you and never attacks you. He goes out of his way not to attack you.
Good lord. There seems to be something wrong with Dr. Wiley's voice. There's one point in the episode where his voice goes really deep, and I was like, wait, what? What the hell happened there? I'm going to be saying this a lot, folks, between now and the end of this era of the podcast, but poor Rush. That poor Robo-Dog.
It seems like almost every episode there's a joke at his expense.
Yeah. Let's see. We could use some acid rain. Man, why does this now remind me of G1, where Megatron instructs the Seekers on Cybertron to use the same damn thing?
I know. Well, nobody's really disabled as long as they have courage, Mike.
True. Mega Ape Man reminds me of the time when Gorilla Grodd attempted to turn the world into apes in Justice League Unlimited. He actually turns Superman and Wonder Woman into apes.
Okay, this is not how a computer virus works, nor is it how a retrovirus works.
No, not at all.
A retrovirus is, well, it's too technical to explain, but basically the common cold is a retrovirus.
Yeah.
So we are way off base.
I think they were pulling from David Wise's writing with mutagen and retromutagen for the Turtles.
Even that was like better technobabble than this.
Oh, true. And it's like, hey, I have a haircut, I'm back to normal. Hey, I grew my hair out, I'm now an ape man. Good lord.
How do you de-evolve robots?
Yeah, I
mean, they don't have evolutionary predecessors. I mean, maybe if you wanted to be funny, they could de-evolve into like a TRS-80 or something.
Good lord, yeah, that's true.
Apple II.
Oh, I don't know what's worse, the regular Apple II or the Apple IIc. Oh boy, Steve, thoughts?
I don't like the whole Robosaur thing. I mean, almost every series has insert dumb dinosaur robots.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost every animation series. And then you have Captain Caveman. I mean, Captain Mega Man. I mean, Mega Caveman, who somehow keeps his crap together long enough to actually function. I think it would have been funnier if you get to see Wiley and Light turn into cavemen.
Yeah, that would have been.
And then have the reverse happen. The robots have to figure stuff out.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit more interesting.
Only because this entire episode... And then it kind of leaves to wonder, how did Wiley's robots not turn?
Yeah. Well, no, they did explain that. He said that Wiley's gave them some sort of weird circuit or something or other that protects them.
Yeah. And then the whole, acid rain that eats through a canister and then it magically puffs from a liquid to a cloud. And then it goes into other cloud and then inserts... I don't get that, but it's animation. I guess I'll leave it alone.
Neil?
Favorite line of the episode is Dr. Light says, "I programmed these robot dinosaurs to be gentle." Meaning that in some respect these robots are sentient for some reason when all they are is amusement park attractions. They don't have to be that complicated. It's like we have to make these fully automated robots for some reason instead of having them like bolted to the ground and having only like 2 or 3 movements. Typical cartoon logic.
Pretty much. Yeah, this one is just bad. We've gotten to our first really, really bad Mega Man episode, folks, and I'm really hoping people... I don't want to say people tear into us on the comments for this podcast, but I really hope that people will comment on this and see if they can explain away or tell us why we're wrong about this one. But this one is just a really, really bad cartoon version of Jurassic Park.
So what you're telling me is it took a dino dump on the entire episode.
Yeah, pretty much. What would you rate this one, Steve?
2.
Neil?
I'll give it a 1.
I am also going to give it a 2 because there were some funny lines in it. Oh, good Lord. This episode, we can only go downhill from here, right, folks? We'll be back after this.
The Earth is defenseless. You have no choice but to turn over control to me. I hope you make the right decision.
Dr. Ray, I just spotted Mega Man and another ship on the moon base radar. They'll be here any minute.
Well, what are you waiting for? Roll out the red carpet. You got it. Got him. As you can see, Mega Man is history. Bring your ship in now, or I'll evaporate it.
All right, don't shoot!
And finally up today, we have Mega Man in the Moon, written by Jeffrey Scott. The air date was October 16th, 1994. Robosaur Park was also written by this writer and aired a week before that. Mega Man goes after Dr. Wiley, who wants to gain control of a giant laser on the moon. Oh man. This is 94. Austin Powers did not come out yet, right?
I don't know.
Because all as I can think of is friggin' Dr. Wiley has become Dr. Evil. I want sharks with frickin' laser beams on their heads.
Going to turn the moon into a Death Star.
For $1 million.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Nope, came out in 97 was the first film, so...
I thought it was
there you go,
later.
folks. Yeah, I figured it was later. Some of the bad puns in this running from me is sheer stupidity. Of Crystal Man looks great. What game was he from?
4 maybe.
He is from Mega Man 5.
Ah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the later games
sounds like he's in 4 as well.
Huh. Stronger than Humpty Dumpty. Ha, sure you are, Gutsman. So Wiley's plan is to hold the world for ransom, right? I get that, but why is it every supervillain, most every supervillain, who want to destroy the Earth when they have to actually live there? That makes no sense whatsoever. He's going to destroy the world he lives on unless they do what he says. And some supervillains destroy the world anyway just to see it burn. Is it just me, or does the space station look like a pretzel? This episode wasn't as bad as the title led me to believe, but it was still bad, and Rush tries so hard. Poor Rush. Oh,
there were a lot of bad lines in this.
Yeah. There were.
Here's Gutsman.
Yep.
Yeah. That, and then I actually did like this episode, though. It's one of the ones that I find more memorable, just because it's, one, I enjoy space, and then two, you get Mega Man with a jetpack going to the space station. Mm. And that's just gold to me.
Yeah, it really is. What else did you like about this one, Steve?
Well, just, I mean, basically just the fact that it's in space. I didn't mind the Crystal Man guy in there. I thought he was kind of neat, but it wasn't the most impressive villain that Wiley's used or will use.
Right.
I would prefer, like, Snake Man over him almost.
Oh, you'll get him next week.
Yeah, I know. Because he's kind of sneaky in the episode. But, yeah, I mean, it overall was enjoyable. And the human that had helped Mega Man as well wasn't annoying as all hell, like usually happens.
Yeah, no, that's Roll's job.
Yeah, Roll's usually the annoying one. And then I love how they have this miraculous, like, here's this this magic shuttle that's never been tested that we're gonna send up.
Yeah, that's not a risk at all.
Well, it's just a convenient plot device. Oh, we have no way to get to the space station. Oh wait, we forgot about this experimental version.
Boy, what about you, Neil?
Oh boy, this episode. I think I would have enjoyed it just a teensy bit more if the face of the moon had Cha written in it.
Or Kilroy was here.
Or Cobra Commander's face.
No, that would be funnier if his voice came out of Snake Man.
That would be funny.
Yeah,
I was almost wishing that had happened at some point, because it would just make it that much more spectacular.
I was once a man. Come here, Mega Man.
This episode, I wasn't understanding the Wiley plot, and then I was like, oh wait, it doesn't make sense, and then it made perfect sense because he wanted to hold the Earth ransom even though he lives on it, which never makes any sense, but it's cartoon logic.
Yeah. I still enjoyed this one. Now that I'm thinking about it and thinking all of the space references they could have made, I was really hoping that they would have used Rush to have some sort of moonraking joke for Moonraker. Or at least have him do the moonwalk.
Oh my god.
Rush breaks out at a Michael Jackson dance move.
As long as he doesn't, go one gloved and grab his nuts and go.
Oh God. Steve, what would you rate this one?
I'd probably give it a 4, just because I enjoyed this one more than some of the other ones that we've looked at tonight.
What about you, Neil?
I'll give it a 2 plus some Rush dog vomit because he was getting space sick. But,
Like I said
since he's a
before.
robot dog, he probably ate his own vomit anyway.
Ew.
Does he even have anything to vomit?
I don't
I think
know.
that's the key word.
I don't know. Maybe he could, spit up nuts and bolts. I don't know. I'm going to give it a 3 because the only reason why I'm giving it a 3 is because of the whole Wiley plot thing. Don't get me wrong, I love all the Rush moments and all that, and I love the comedy. Even the cheesy lines like Kutzman's line about sheer stupidity, it's still funny to me because I know because it basically watching this cartoon again transports me back into the time that it was made. So I'm like, where it's like, it wasn't too late in the 90s where that line wouldn't have been super cheesy. I mean, let's face it, this cartoon series is no Arnold as Mr. Freeze, thank God.
Nice to see you.
On that note, we're going to go to a quick ad break, come back with final thoughts, and close the show out after this.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's Showtime Synergy. The latest review podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network is here. So join TFG1 Mike, Nicole Hailstorm, and myself, Lady Rec, as we will be reviewing all 65 episodes of Joe and the Holograms in a 25-episode-long podcast. You can find Showtime Synergy on iTunes and GeekCastRadio.com. We are the truly outrageous podcast that you want to be listening to.
By the power of Grayskull, I command the jaw bridge. Open!
The Powers of Grayskull series will cover every episode of all 4 Masters of the Universe cartoons. Join Optimus Solo and myself, TF2 and Mike, as we tell tales of Eternia, discover the myths of Etheria, become masters in space, and finally Masters of Grayskull. We'll have a commentary on the Secret of the Sword film, and a few other special episodes. You can find this 125-episode-long podcast in iTunes and on the web at geekcastradio.com. By the power and honor of Grayskull, we all have the power.
Hurry, Skeletor, hurry! I am hurrying, I'm hurrying!
Now for a behind-the-scenes look at Geekcast Radio Network's newest show, Talking in Circles.
So, Chuck, Greg, what are you guys thinking for this week's show?
Well, Dan, how about we just talk about the things that we've read or watched this week?
We do reviews like that every week, Chuck. How about a game like Fact or Fiction or The Power of Names?
Those are great, and we're always coming up with new ideas for games. And how about some top 5s? You know how I love my top 5s.
What about tournament-style brackets, or sequel, reboot, and destroy, who will win in a fight, taking too far, crazy but true news, or...
Yes, it appears we have lots of things to work on.
Listen to Talking in Circles, taking timeless topics in new directions, every Tuesday on iTunes or GeekCastRadio.com, the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, Dan, who's the guy with the creepy voice?
We now return to Mega Man.
Alright, folks, we are back. Neil, what do you got going on with all your projects and everything else?
I'm just taking a little break. I got Chapter 11 coming up in about a month or so, so I'm just kind of taking it easy for a while.
What do you got going on, Steve?
What don't I have going on?
I know, right? You're everywhere.
Literally. Let me see. I'm working on This Week in Geek. I'm working on the GCRN Awards tallies. I'm having to learn a script for class. I'm working on the new Transformers website, which is an amalgamation of Predacon Empire, which I used to run, and the old Transformers Network, which is the new Transformers Network. All of it combined. So that's mostly what I've been pouring my time into.
Awesome. I've been pouring my time into a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of written reviews that I've recently released. I've got so many more to do that I need to catch up on. Working here for Pixels and the Pull Bag and M-Wire and everything else. Just absolutely loving doing the podcasting thing. Go check out geekcastradio.com for all of our content. So after we're 6 episodes into the series, guys, what has anything really let you down going back and rewatching this, Steve?
Not really. I mean, it's a lot of it I remember because over the years I periodically have this nostalgia kick. I'll go back and I'll actually now that YouTube's around, it makes it a lot easier. I don't have to mess with it, but I used to go and torrent the entire animation series just so that I could watch them because either A, they didn't have a DVD, or B, I couldn't afford them.
Right.
And going back and I used to watch them, Mega Man, Captain Simeon, Mighty Max. I mean, just various old shows, and this being one of them. And I've always enjoyed Mega Man, even despite some of the lousy episodes that were in it, because I love the voice cast and I love the animation, despite some things being off in points. Although it's a lot more accurate than most animation series around that time.
True.
So I give it props for that. But I do find that it still kind of decently holds up for what it is.
Yeah. What about you, Neil?
Well, like he just said, it holds up a lot better than a lot of other cartoons of the era. For me, the formulaic writing is kind of not really endearing to me. But, there are cartoons that I watch that also have formulaic writing, and it's purely nostalgia, and I understand that. So, yeah, it's not a series that I will probably revisit.
As far as I go, it's interesting looking at some of this animation because what I end up finding in the animation, like there was one of the episodes today, there was a shot of Dr. Light talking with Mega Man, and it looks like Mega Man has become the Headless Horseman. This image will be in the post for this podcast, folks, so everyone can see it. But, yeah, that was a little strange. Nothing has really let me down. There are a couple of cringe-worthy moments. But other than that, I'm still really enjoying this look back on Mega Man so far. Thank you for joining us here on Pixels in the Animation. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on this and all of our other posts. Email us, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Leave the show's feedback on iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter at geekcastradio is the network Twitter. Mine is TFG and Mike. Neil, what is your Twitter?
Neil Sama.
And Steve?
SCP-21.
You almost forgot, didn't you?
I was going to say Steve Megatron.
Come a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also check out Neil's Classic Gaming, Decian-Comic.
I don't think there's a dash in there.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
No dash.
Okay. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Pixels in the Animation and wish you'll join us next time when we'll be reviewing 3 more episodes from Mega Man, those being 20,000 Leaks Under the Sea. No.
Corny title.
The Incredible Shrinking Mega Man and Bot Transfer. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
TP Mr. Neil.
Steve Megatron Phillips.
Turn in. Why the hell did you do that?
I don't know, partner.
He turned into Pat Buttram.
He did. Tune in next time and help us find the pixels in the animation.
Where'd they go?
They went that way.